All right, so I'm going to talk for the next 25 minutes on my way home about why I believe the Earth is not a spinning rock floating through outer space. So if anybody is out there and like they're on the edge with this type of conversation and they just don't know what to think, just listen to what I'm about to say, and I highly encourage you go outside and try what I'm about to explain to you. So let me explain this. Number one reason, and let me set the record straight. I didn't come out the womb believing we lived on a flat, non-rotating plane. I did not believe that. I believe, like everybody else, that we live on a rock spinning through outer space, because that is what I was told in school. I went to Catholic school too for 9 years. I went to a good Catholic school, and that is what I learned there. So I assumed that what I was learning was correct, as one would. Now, the problem with it all is, no matter how good you do in school, no matter how much Isaac Newton you understand, no matter all the quotes you know, no matter all of this stuff, it doesn't make a lick of difference if the information is not valid. And that is what I have learned, is that when you apply common sense and when you actually learn about what's going on, and you go outside and you try these things and you experiment with things, you will absolutely come to the realization that we have been given false information, period. Now, that's my opinion. Now I'll start. Now I'll get into it. Reason number one why I believe we are not doing what they say is because NASA's speeds, for one thing, the speeds are ridiculous, okay? 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. Then we're spinning 66,700 miles an hour around the sun, okay? So we're spinning, and then we're going like this as well. And we're chasing the sun through the galaxy 500,000 miles an hour. Now, number one, when applying common sense, and when you begin to learn, one of the first questions I have is, wow, impressive. Those are fast numbers. How did they get those calculations? Where did they come up with that? What tool did they use to come up with those numbers? Because they don't have one, okay? One of the only proofs that they have that the Earth is spinning is actually the Foucault pendulum in a museum. So if that's one of the only proofs it's spinning, how is science coming up with these insane speeds? They're making them up. Number one, that's how. They're making them up, clearly, because there is no machine that can test this. So that's the first thing, is like, why would they then, if they have to make it up, because they have to be making these up. They cannot accurately ever know that. So why are they making it up? Number one. And number two, what are the real proofs then? What can we really do? We can go to a museum and look at this pendulum and watch it go back and forth and say, okay, the pendulum's moving back and forth because the Earth is spinning around, doing these crazy speeds. Or my thought on it, and I don't want to get too into it right now, but it's a magic trick, okay? Because it was invented by a Frenchman in the 1850s, right around there, and that's when the French revolutionized stage magic and brought it into America, right around that time. So it's it's obvious to me, because you know what's happening. It's a magic trick, period. There's nothing else to it. All right, and nobody watching this video can actually prove for 2 seconds that is actually really doing that because of the Earth's rotation. No one can prove that, because nobody has the ability to. We have to solely rely that is an honest thing. And I am not going to put my whole better judgment on the line based on the fact that I have to rely on someone that I do not know to tell me the truth. I don't trust that. So that's not proof to me. I have to learn for myself what's going on. So when you actually begin to want to learn, okay, so, and that's where I was like, okay, I cannot trust the proofs that they have. Okay, I can't trust NASA videos or any of these videos anymore because I've seen far too many green screens, far too many harnesses, just far too much nonsense. That can't be trusted. So what can I do that I can see with my own eyes that I can trust? And then I came up with, I'm gonna start to learn about the stars then. Because if you learn about the stars, what you can learn is that the stars, for one thing, are constellations. So in constellations are the zodiac signs. So when people say, and a lot of people don't know this, but when people say, you know, what is your zodiac sign? Those are stars in the sky. And those stars have been going around us for thousands and thousands of years. I just wrote a book on this. There are old caves and pyramids and all sorts of stuff with these constellations, these stars painted on the walls, in the ceilings. So for thousands of years, these stars have been right above us. If we are endlessly spinning, going all these different directions, spinning all over the place, forever and ever and ever, never to return to the same spot, just zoom straight through the galaxy. How are we always, for the last, that I know of, based on temples and stuff, at least by mainstream, at least the last 6,000 years, 6,000 years, these same exact stars have been around us, right above us. Think about that logically. Think about that. If we were a ball, spin it around, grab a baseball right now and start spinning it around, and then start going like this with it. And now think about that thing moving, those speeds. Okay, 1,000 miles an hour, 66,700 miles an hour around the sun. But yet, every night we're looking at these stars, okay? They're moving, but so slowly that you can't tell. You know, you can take a time-lapse photo and they're beautiful. If you've never seen a time-lapse photo, Google time-lapse photo of Polaris, okay? So when you start putting that together, now when you really start learning, like I can go out on any clear night now and name 15 to 20 stars in the sky, point them out and be like, oh, there it is, there it is. So when you get to that point, it becomes really difficult to believe that we could be spinning, especially when they have no proof. There's no proof of that. Okay, so that's my number one reason why I don't think we're spinning. Now, one of my top reasons why I believe that it's not a ball is, for one thing, there's way too many. I have a camera and you can take pictures of land, like we're talking, 1,500 miles away. 8 inches per mile squared, okay? That's a lot of curvature. So you're not supposed to be able to see things like that. All right, there's far too many pictures, for one thing, long distance photos. All right, the second thing is that rivers do not flow uphill. Okay, I've never seen a river flow up a hill, ever in my life. Have you? So, there's that. As a matter of fact, if you look into rivers and how people get up rivers, there are a lot of big rivers where they have these crazy, it's like these crazy channels that they have to create, and they fill them with water, and they lock you into these channels. If you're in a boat, they'll lock the boat into a cube, and it fills with water, and the boat rises up, and then the cube opens back up and it unlocks you. And there are rivers where you have to go from, cube to cube to cube to cube to get way up. It's crazy, because rivers do not go uphill, ever. They don't go around a ball. So unless there's those machines and those cube things all over the world getting people's boats uphill, that's a little bit impossible, It's absolutely impossible. Then when you start to apply logic, okay, now I'm going to do a rhetorical, but it's fun because when you get to the point where it gets ridiculous, then you can start to ask yourself some ridiculous questions. That's my logic. So if the earth is really, in fact, a ball, right? And say you could drill all the way through. Say you could. I know you can't. But say you could drill all the way through the ball into the other side. Would you, because if you dropped down in there, you would be falling foot first. So how would that work? When you got through to the other side, would you would come out feet first or head first, or would you be flying out into space? I mean, figure that out, because it's ridiculous. It's silly. It's a silly concept. It's honestly, I can't believe we've been hypnotized into believing it for so long. But I highly recommend that people go outside and learn the stars. Learn them. Learn how to find the North Star, okay? You need to be able to find the Big and Little Dipper. That's what you need to be able to do. All right, once you find the Big and Little Dipper, you can find Polaris, and you can find it any night that you want, all right? And just go out there and do it. Now, I wish I was outside right now and I could just show you how to do it, but you just got to find, because once you find it, there's a little hand trick. You go like this, and you can touch Polaris to the, is it the Little Dipper, the Big, I forget now, but because I don't need to use it anymore, I just know where it is. But you can, it's such an easy little trick. So I highly recommend, find Polaris and learn how to find a few of the stars. You know, find like the summer triangle, okay, which is Vega, Altair, and Deneb. So if you find Vega, Altair, and Deneb, super easy stars to find. From there, you can find Arcturus, and you can find Betelgeuse, and you can start to find all of these stars in the sky, and you can see them every single night. Not to mention the planets, especially during the winter. Like right now, every single morning, you can see Venus, super bright and beautiful, third brightest thing in the sky. And actually, Venus is Lucifer. And it's a crazy cool story about how that even happened. You know, because that's what Venus is. Venus is the morning star, okay? And even if you look up Lucifer in a Bible dictionary, you're gonna see morning star. What is the morning star? It's the planet Venus. Why is it the planet Venus? Because the word light is lux in Latin. And lux, the morning star, the planet Venus, grew jealous over years of the Son of God. And who was the Son of God? The sun is the sun in the sky. It was the Son of God. And Venus was jealous of the sun for its brightness because of how illuminated it was. So Venus became an enemy, okay? In a enemy of the sun, an anti-Christ, okay? And that is where Venus became Lucifer, because it's the third brightest thing in the sky. So it became known as Lux in Latin. And then as storytelling started to become a thing, it became known as Lucifer. So it's all about the sky, okay? And when you begin to learn what these things are up there and where they're gonna be, it really does get to a point where it's impossible for you to believe in this anymore. Which brings me to like belief systems as well. A belief system is based on information that you have. And if you don't have a lot of information, you're gonna believe whatever you have. So incidentally, we have a lot of people that just believe what they're told. Now, how it got this way, how Christianity even became so prevalent, and you know, in every single household, you're either Jewish or a Christian or a Muslim, like you're a thing. How did that become so prevalent? Like, well, how did it even happen? Why aren't more people not religious? Well, that all happened, especially Christianity, because it was forced on people. Knights Templars forced it. They went around the world forcing it, or else. So when you start to learn about that stuff, that's really fascinating. And that's kind of what I wrote my book on too, is all that type of stuff. So actually, if you're interested in that information, I have a lot of free information on my website. But I have a digital book I just wrote. It's called Ancient Belief Systems, and it's $5. You'll learn more information in there. It's unbelievable. Because I talk about everything. All the Jesus archetypes, because there were 16 major religions that had an exact replica of Jesus. And all these religions happened far before Christianity. But anyway, flat earth. So, yeah, not to mention, you know, every ancient culture and civilization believed that the earth was flat. The Bible depicts the earth as flat, like many, 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 many times. Also, sundials, the way that a sundial works, okay, so you can test this at home. In order for a sundial to work, because the sundial, if you watch it in slow motion, the shadow moves around in a circle until it becomes too dark to see the shadow anymore. So it moves slowly around in a circle on a time lapse. Now, if the sun were to actually rise in the east and settle in the west, like science tells us, it goes above us and sets, sundials just would not work. And sundials are like the oldest clock ever invented. So that basically debunks the whole spinning and rotating around and all that nonsense. Because it debunks the model that, and a lot of people say, well, couldn't it still be spinning? No, it debunks heliocentricity, okay? Because we allegedly revolve around the sun, okay? And the sun, we go perfectly east to west. The sun is going, so that's what it appears to be doing. We're perfectly going around the sun. That can't happen. In order for a sundial to work, the source of light has to be going around us in a circle. It can't be going from point A to point B. So sundials debunk the whole globe thing. Anyway, it's that whole thing is you know, I mean, there are a lot of debunks. Not to mention the airplane routes debunk. It goes from A to B. They do it, and there are long distance flights from Boston to China, and at no point in time is that plane curving to go around a ball. It flies up to altitude. It stays at altitude all the way to China, and then it goes down and lands. There is zero curving around a ball. None. There is no going upside down. There's nothing. It's a flat flight. You go up, you hit elevation, and you go straight until you get there, and then you land. That's it. So airplanes, not to mention the word airplane. Plane is a flat, two-dimensional space. It's flat. Okay? Not to mention all the Bible stuff that I told you about. It says that the earth is a circle. A circle is two-dimensional. Two-dimensional is flat. Okay? There's another thing. So there's a Greek god Atlas, and there's a statue of him holding what was told, people think is an atlas. It's a giant world. It's a globe. And people have said this statue's really old. So, you know, thousands of years ago, they thought the earth was a globe. Listen, that's incorrect, because the story of Atlas, that's his name. It's not an atlas that he's holding. He's not holding the globe. His name is Atlas. He's a Greek god, okay? Atlas was punished by Zeus for fighting in the Titanomachy War against Zeus. And he was punished, and he was told to hold the sky up and hold the sky and separate the sky from the earth so that people could live in the middle. And that is his job. That is what his punishment is. He's holding up the sky. So when you actually look at a statue, a real statue of this Atlas figure, he's holding up all of the zodiacal signs, all of the constellations. He's holding the stars up. He's not holding a globe. He's not holding a spherical globe. So that is not a flat earth debunk. What that is a lack of knowledge. Okay? Now here's another one, another science fact for you. Everyone likes to talk about the one or two philosophers or mathematicians that said that the earth is, you know, a spinning ball. Everyone wants to talk about, oh, Plato, and oh, yeah, whatever. I don't care about these characters, okay? I guarantee you've never heard of a guy named Tycho Brahe. I almost guarantee it. You know why? Because we got taught about his assistant, Johannes Kepler, in school. That's who we got taught about. That's who we learned about, was Johannes Kepler. They didn't teach us about Tycho Brahe. Let me teach you about Tycho Brahe. In the 1500s, there was a guy named Tycho Brahe who was a absolute genius at depicting where the stars and planets were going to be. And all of the rich people back then hired him to draw their sky maps, because sky maps were massively important back then, because people navigated the seas with the sky back then. So it was very important as a navigator to know your sky. So Tycho Brahe was the best at it. Why was he the best? I'll tell you what, he was not a mathematician. He was an observer. He observed the sky. Now, what's interesting is when it was time to come out and talk about the shape of the earth, because Tycho Brahe believed that the earth was still and not moving, that the sun revolved around the earth. That's what he believed. And what happened was, when they were trying to turn everything into this heliocentric model, they couldn't use Tycho because he didn't believe in it. So they used his assistant, Johannes Kepler. And that is who we get in school. We learn about Johannes Kepler. Now, the thing about Johannes Kepler is all of his predictions were always wrong. He wasn't good at it because it was math. He didn't use observation. He used math. So everything was always incorrect. All right? They used him because he agreed with the heliocentric idea. And that's why they went with him. That's why the name is big, okay? And that's what you learn when you read about him. Now, what's interesting is Tycho Brahe gets absolutely no credit, but they named a crater on the moon after him, the Tycho crater. So it's interesting, you know? Now, I could talk for another 25 minutes, actually longer, a lot longer, about the shape of the earth and all of this, but I'm not going to right now, because I told you I'd say a few things for 20 minutes. Now it's 25 minutes. Bear in mind, now remember, for this video's sake, this video is my opinion. I thought I was entitled to having an opinion. This video is for entertainment, okay, and it's my opinion. Now, I love everybody. I just want people to do the research. That's what I want. The problem is, I know it's hard to do the research, because you have to actually go into a library, get books. You have to learn about the sky. That's probably the easiest thing you could do. You know, and you can get an app and learn. But the problem with the apps are they're not very accurate. That's why I say really learn what the Big and Little Dipper is and go outside, and you should be able to spot it, especially with an app's help. But then don't rely on the app. Rely on your brain looking and rely on, you know, the Big and Little Dipper in your eyes, in your brain, because the apps are inaccurate. So that's my opinion. Anyway, I love you all, and you can find me on Rumble with the Sun33, on Telegram with the Sun33, and YouTube. I get censored so bad on TikTok, it's crazy, but you know, it is crazy. anyhow, you can find me on my website as well, with thesun33.com. Like I said, I write books. They're cheap, and they have just never-ending information. And as soon as I write one, I'm on to the next one, and I'm learning some more stuff. So I'm always, whatever I'm learning, I'm on here talking about it, giving it away for free, and just writing so much information. So that's what I'm here for. I love you all.